top just to make sure. We'll let everybody start jumping on. 4 are already waiting. If you start jumping on, guys, will you let us know in the chat so that I can make sure that everyone can see or that the live is working? Yep, live's good. 5 watching, jumping on. All right, let me tell Facebook and we'll be good to go. Thank you for making time to come on with me, Marcus.
No worries. My pleasure.
Live on YouTube. Okay, we're good. Hey guys, see you guys jumping on. Very good. Awesome. All right, guys. So today is a very special day for me because this is actually, Marcus, you're actually the very first person I've ever shared my YouTube with.
Okay.
Live. Yeah.
So I'm honored.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on. And it's because I was ministering and doing all of my ministry for the past like 10 years on specifically Facebook and maybe Instagram.
Right.
Like I had this YouTube.
Okay.
January, the Lord really spoke to me and was like, look, you think everybody's just on Facebook and Instagram? Like you have a whole world that hasn't heard about my return or cryptos on YouTube. So anyway, you're the very first one since last year.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to give you an opportunity for those who follow me and came from Facebook and Instagram, just give them an opportunity to tell them about who you are. And you are, from what I know and some videos that I've watched, I think you're very anointed, Marcus. I feel as if you have this ability to see, and you have had many dreams about specifically what the Lord has had, the vein the Lord has had me in for at least 5 years, which is Joseph, wealth transfer, his return, just in time ministry kind of. And you also pastor, which is what I love. So if you want to just tell them a little bit about your background, military, right? And pastor.
Yeah. So 13 years total in the military, 10 in the Marine Corps. Then I got out and went to pursue the call of God on my life. So I went to Bible college. Once I left the Marine Corps, I thought I was done with the military completely, but that wasn't the case because about 2.5 years later, I went back into the military, into the Army for 3 years, and just got out of the Army at the end of 2022. So it's been just over a year that I've been out of the Army. But, I'm called to ministry. That's just my life's purpose and my calling. My father has been in ministry himself for over 20 years. And yeah, so I think it was 2017 when I really started pursuing all of this strongly, pursuing my calling. And a lot has happened during that time. I got into the wealth transfer, I would say officially in 2021. And that was by a prophetic word. The Lord had already started to kind of nudge me into, I won't say he was nudging me specifically into Bitcoin, but just based on what was going on in my life, that was the most accessible crypto. And so he kind of just nudged me to like slowly start investing into cryptocurrency, but it was through Bitcoin. And then I received a prophetic word that kind of brought things into alignment and led me to the wealth transfer community on YouTube. And it wasn't until a year after that that I got my first direct cryptocurrency dream about Shiba Inu and setting sell limit orders. And so I hopped on my little YouTube channel with 4 subscribers and posted a video that I thought might get 300 views at most. And it got over 8,000 in the first week. And I gained 1,000 subscribers in less than a month. And yeah, just been going since then.
I love that. I love it. This is why I love it, because I didn't really realize. So in the Facebook world, Instagram world, and where I was preaching just in general to our brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
this message, when you're a preacher, is not well received because a lot of
Right.
people are saying, why are you talking about the gospel and yet on the same side teaching finance and this cryptocurrency stuff? Isn't this the mark of the beast? And so that's what I was during those times, Marcus. That's when I was having the most pressure because I knew that, like you, I knew that the Lord had showed me something, but I hadn't focused it. You know, we see through the glass dimly, and I knew something was there. I knew this is where this was headed. I knew the AI, the tech, this is part of a system,
Mhm.
but I was trying to teach it and preach the gospel, and I wasn't sure how the Lord was merging it for the longest time.
Right.
I get on YouTube, and what I was really drawn to other preachers who were doing this were that they were preaching and talking about this. So I didn't feel like such a lone wolf.
Right.
So when you were seeing visions and I was seeing this, and then I heard another community, all of the other people, I was like, okay, we're on to something.
Right.
So I haven't had as many visions as you, and I want to get into your dreams.
Mhm.
For some reason, my giftings lie like, so I'm noticing with you, you're getting specific dreams about what's to come, and as far as like the crashes, and then maybe specific assets. And then you've got Kelly from Belief Bag that's very technical. Then we have that understands maybe the bigger side. Then we've got like
Right.
Sharon, who from the very beginning got some really great revelation about XRP and like what the whole meaning is. And I'm over here teaching and preaching about the return of the Lord. That's my vein, and about where we are in time. I seem to
Right.
understand the timing of things. I'm able to grab things you're saying and other people are saying, visions, and put them together and connect dots.
Mhm.
And I love how the Lord is using all of us, because I think it makes his heart happy that we talk to one another, that we're not lone wolves, that we're putting puzzle pieces together, that we're using our giftings and not jealous of one another and able to get the big picture. So
Right.
I think that's well, have you found resistance when you're preaching? Like, because you preach to a congregation too. So are you finding resistance with this cryptocurrency stuff with them outside
So,
of you?
yeah, so to really talk about the church ministry part of my life. So, um in 2022, summer of 2022, I got invited by my pastor to just join him in ministry and come on staff as a pastor as well. So it was really just us two. We were the only two pastors in the church. But about 9 months later, I had to really, through a lot of prayer and whatnot, had to make the decision if I was going to stay in Georgia, which is where I was at, or move to Florida, which is where I'm from. So I decided to move to Florida and I left that church. And about 6 weeks later, my pastor called me and he told me he had accepted a pastoral job in his hometown. And so the church wanted to know if I wanted to come back and be the next lead pastor. And so we began going through that process. But the denomination, there's some issues with the denomination and very political, very literally the state superintendent came to a church meeting uh, a few months after this started and said we need to make a business decision. I don't really think that's the way you handle appointing a pastor of a church, but that's what he said, and that's what they did. So um, they went in another direction. So I'm not in church ministry at this moment, pastoring actively in that way, but I believe it's the will of God as well, because I began getting serious again on YouTube. I had taken like 6 months away from it. I began getting serious again after that happened, and things have grown tremendously since then. But as far as like preaching this to a congregation, I haven't done that. I haven't preached this in the church, and I believe you're right that it's probably not widely received or well received by a traditional church congregation, and I feel like that's a big part of the reason why the community for this lies on YouTube, and I
Mhm.
think that's part of the reason why I felt the grace. Really, I felt like I walked through a doorway on Rosh Hashanah, which fell on my birthday actually. um, and I felt a grace to give more to YouTube. And the church is changing, and part of my situation going through that with the church denomination and whatnot, I fully believe it brought judgment on that church, and not to speak down on anybody, or I mean, I didn't speak judgment on them, but because they chose to go the way of the traditions and wisdom of man rather than the way of the spirit. And again, I'm not speaking for myself. Um, it that church lost attendance very quickly. It went from 60 to 80 people every Sunday when me and my pastor were there. And 3 months after they made that decision, it was like 10 people weekly attendance at that church. Um, and yeah, so that's my response to that. I don't know how widely received this message would be in the American church, because the American church is being shaken up. It's being changed anyway, and I believe we're going back into the streets, back into the parks like you do, um, and just becoming more real. Letting go of the show and the performance. And I know this isn't what we're here to talk about, so let me shut up. But that's my answer.
Well, that thank you for that. Yeah, because well, just to confirm what you just said, I mean, that's it. I mean, it was a blessing in disguise because I know that the Lord told me I had dreams and visions about me outside of the four walls of the church, and I didn't really know what that meant. And these conversations that we're having, guys, we're about to get into the cryptos. This is a huge part of the return of the Lord. I had someone ask me, well, why can't you just separate the two? Why can't you just do another channel just for finances and one channel just for the gospel? And I'm saying, I can't. These two aren't separate. It is the rise of a system. We're heading into a new way the church is functioning for the good. We're heading into a new way the whole world is functioning. We're heading into his literal return. And I think because like you not getting that and all of that happening with you, me out in the park, it's the Lord saying the old wineskin's gone, guys.
Mhm.
Stop. Just stop trying to resurrect, this as I'm not bringing it back. The new wineskin is coming where the ones that are outside on YouTube or wherever the Lord's going to send you or me out in the park, talking about his return and the new system that's coming that deals economically with a change. So, right, like the black horse is an economic horse. So, let's just get right into that. We have something really facing us, and that is in a complete economic turnover, a change that none of us really have really seen clearly, but we see dimly, and we see something's changing, and it's going all digital and it's going all AI. So with you had a few dreams, and I want to start with, I've gone through them all, and I want to start with your elevator dream that you had about this time last year, right? The one where you were hit 48, you went 52, or you
Mhm.
go ahead and tell it.
Yeah, so I stepped on an elevator with another guy, another gentleman, and I was going to floor 50. I knew that. And I asked him what floor he was going to, and he said 48. So I went to hit those two floors on the panel, and I accidentally also hit 43 and 52. So I hit 43, 48, 50, and 52, and the elevator doors closed and the elevator rocketed up to floor 43. Like it was scary. It felt like the elevator was out of control how fast it was moving. But then it stopped abruptly at 43. The doors opened, the man went to step off, and I stopped him. I said, no, this is 43. I pressed the wrong button. So he came back on, and the doors closed, and the elevator rocketed up again to 48 and stopped. And the now I'm thinking, okay, I need to get off at 48 myself because this is crazy. I don't know what's about to happen with this elevator. But then I'm like, okay, I'm only 2 floors away from my destination, which is 50. I said, okay, I think I'll be all right. And the man kind of like nodded at me with a grin and stepped off. And then the elevator doors closed, but nothing happened. And then the elevator turned into a bucket, which is kind of strange. And then there were some things. I don't know how much in detail you want me to go, but then the elevator buttons turned into like the test and reset buttons you might see on the adapter of a blow dryer or something. Those two tabs that say test and reset. And then the point of view zoomed out. I had a bird's eye view of myself in the bucket, but then I could see this was a giant elevator shaft with like a dozen other elevators in it. And the dream ended in like a sort of to be continued sort of thing. I wasn't hopeless at the end of the dream, but that was the dream.
So you had this dream a year ago, and so I didn't see this dream probably until like a month or so ago. And I knew exactly what it meant, but I knew that in your dream a year ago that you were saying you didn't think at the time you were saying that it was about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I didn't think it was about cryptocurrency, period. Yeah.
Which I which I understand, but a year later, I'm listening to this, and since that, you had put out all of these dreams that were crypto and finance related. So by the time I got to this dream that you had, the Lord had showed me that you had, I knew immediately. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is about Bitcoin."
Mhm.
For me, I don't know, this is how I interpreted it, Marcus, that when once the that Bitcoin hit 52, it wasn't going to go any higher. And the buckets, usually a bucket does not fill unless you lower it down to add, like if you're lowering it down into a well, it's got to go down to pick up the water to rise it all the way back up. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, so this is going to hit 52. It's going to stall. And the Lord is saying it's time to fill your buckets. It's time to go ahead and start filling in. And going into now, this is the revelation I've gotten from the Lord about this year, about what we're heading into, Marcus. So we had the ETF that happened. So you had this dream before the even ETF situation. Well, when you
Mhm.
have an ETF, all of these different big players like Fidelity and BlackRock, they have to be custodians now of the asset, which means they have to acquire it for their customers, which they haven't ever really had to do before, but now it's a necessity. And now we're heading into an election year on top of all of this. So I I thought in my mind as I was praying to the Lord about this, there's absolutely no way that BlackRock and Fidelity are going to buy into Bitcoin at its 52 right now. I just don't see that happening. I don't trust them. None of us do. Like, for instance, BlackRock pretty much owns the whole world. I mean, we're talking about trillions of dollars, more money that can be spent in 100 lifetimes this company has.
Mhm.
So, and infidelity is the same way. It doesn't take much in a system that's digital to push a button or do something and make the market kind of either be fully flooded. Now, I'll tell you, when I saw your interview with Kelly, and she said one thing that made a light bulb go off in my mind, because I had already thought to myself about where this is headed for this year, up until the election. I felt as if that something was going to happen to flood the market. And she said to you, she goes, I feel in my spirit that there's going to be a liquidity crisis. There's going to be a flood of liquidity that hits the market. Well, it wouldn't take nothing for BlackRock and Fidelity to unload, just dump a whole bunch of liquidity on the Bitcoin market so that they can come in, scoop it up before the halving, so that when the halving takes place, they have bought it at a very, very non insignificant amount. So now they're on top because they're always wanting to be on top. So they'll have custodianship of the assets because now we have an ETF in Bitcoin. Another thing that I thought about, it seems to be like y'all's dreams. Like your dream was a year ago. Kelly had a dream about a bubble pop a year ago. Um, let's see, Sharon had some dreams about bananas, all right, ripening with Luna. Well, bananas ripe in April. So with this election year, on top of all this, Marcus, we have a total lunar eclipse happening April the 8th. So I'm putting all of these pieces together, and I'm like, this is, to me, this is how it seems to be going down. You had the elevator dream, the buckets are about to fill, you saw a reset button, and you saw test. Well, you've been saying on your channel, the Lord is using you in some kind of way of teaching us how to pass test. We're going to go through a lot of tests.
Mhm.
We're going to go, it seems to me that I've been getting from the Lord is these waves that are coming. And the Josephs at the end of this, the Josephs, the ones that have this Issachar, know the timing, know what they should be doing, know what all of this is for, is going to pass these tests, these waves that are headed our way.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
had that second dream. I think it was about the cruise ship, right? You want to tell that one real quick?
Yeah, it involved. I was on a cruise ship, and he said this was just what, last week, maybe week and a half ago. I was on a cruise ship, and the elevators on the ship were having issues. Just a lot of bad stuff. They were stalling. They were inoperable. They were even falling. And so me and my friends, we get onto an elevator and we're going down. We're at like the top of the ship and we're about to go down. And a cable snaps at the top of the elevator. And I knew in the dream that there were two cables holding this elevator up. So one snapped and we began to fall and kind of tilt in the shaft. And of course, you begin to panic when that happens. And then a voice on the intercom said, "Don't panic. The cable that you're still connected to will pull you to safety." And sure enough, it slowly pulled us back up to our starting point. We got off the elevator, and got on a different elevator and rode that elevator down to the bottom floor safely. And there was a feeling of relief when we were on that second elevator. Um, and yeah, that was essentially that dream.
Did you feel like you got an interpretation from the Lord about that one yet, or are you still kind of thinking about it?
I mean, in the video that I did, the live stream I did a few days ago concerning it, what I see happening is a run, or I've heard it called a bull trap. Um, so like a run before a crash. I think the bottom line of the dream is that it will go to the bottom. There is going to be a crash. Um, and then, as far as like what the cables represent, people are saying, maybe it's USDT or this, that, and the other. I haven't really thought too much into that, but all I'm looking at is the overall picture of what I expect is to be a run of some sort and then a crash, but overall a crash, even if say that that run didn't happen, and I don't expect it to be a long run or a huge run, but the crash is for sure. That's the bottom line of the dream to me.
I agree with you. That's exactly what I believe. I believe it is the crash. And do you have an idea, maybe your opinion of? I have an opinion, but what's your opinion? When do you feel as if like the big one, in your opinion, will happen?
Of when?
Yeah, like
Uh,
a season. Maybe you don't really know exact timing, but like a season.
yeah. I haven't given much thought to that either, and I told my members section like I'm kind of like released trying to figure out exactly when things are going to happen. Just because we've seen that in the community a few times, and things have come and gone, and so my mindset is just being prepared regardless of when, just being in position continuously. So I haven't received anything. It's not like I'm against, if the Lord wants to reveal to me, then of course I'm open, but I don't really have a sense or a thought of even when the season might be. I mean, so the way I've already always felt it would happen is there would be a run before the crash. I've always felt that, even before this most recent dream. Um, and then I've also felt that there will be, like you said, multiple waves. I've felt two waves, but I feel like people are saying like three or whatever the case may be. I felt a small run and a crash followed by a large run. Um, and I would feel the absolute latest that all of this, like the absolute latest we should be taking profits. And I'm saying the absolute latest, meaning I would hope it's before this, and it's absolutely possible it will be before this, but would be 2025. So I'm hoping to see something this year. I'm in position for something to happen this year, but
Yeah.
I'm not holding to a time. Yeah.
Let me tell you my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, no.
I believe, um, just because of all the pieces and things that I've put together, and just I don't know, my Marcus, my mind. This is how my mind works. I can know something that somebody else has seen. You know how Joseph had the ability to interpret dreams,
Mhm.
and he had the ability of just knowing. And I can't tell you why I know this sometimes, Marcus, or anybody I'm talking to. It's when I radically got saved and began preaching the gospel, I knew immediately what time I was in. I just knew it. It wasn't, oh, it's her opinion. Yeah, people have been saying that Jesus is coming back for how long? Yeah, yeah, that's cute. You know, she's out there. I knew, Marcus, I knew what time I was in. It was
Mhm.
Lord gave me this mantle, this understanding, this Issachar type of season, knowing the season I was in. And I didn't understand fully because I was such a new baby back in 2013 of what I was seeing. Everything was unfocused. But I had to mature, and I had to focus and dial in and mature in what I was seeing and hearing. And so I've now that we're in 2024, and now that I've been in the crypto space since 2018, I went through the very first bull run. And
Mhm.
Marcus, I made good money.
Yeah.
But because I didn't know this space, because I had never had that much money in my whole life, I mean,
Mhm.
people would think, oh, 150,000, that's not a lot. To me, it was.
Yeah,
Because
no.
my husband went through a 17-year addiction, and bondage causes poverty. And so when we finally got out of that, radically redeemed from the Lord yanked us literally out of the pits of hell. I was like, what do I do? What do I do with this? Oh, it's going to go up forever. I didn't understand the market. I didn't understand things don't go up forever. And I watched it kind of go all the way back down. I lost probably about half of what I made,
Mm.
and poured what we made into a ministry that the Lord's asked me to do. So I've been in this a while. And I say that to say this, that this is unlike any other year. And we went through a bull run. Now we've gone through crypto winter. We've had a lot of people leave. We've had a lot of people say, this is stupid. I've lost too much money. This is too hard. I'm not doing this. Yet you're still having dreams. The community's still having dreams. I'm still understanding, like, I'm seeing the B system rise. I'm seeing AI rise. I'm seeing everything go digital. I'm listening to Kelly. I'm seeing what XRP is doing behind the scenes in these banking coins. Sharon said she saw a curtain being pulled back and it was already done, right?
Mhm.
And the ones that pass this test are the Josephs. There's people watching right now, and I'm not trying to be mean to you at all. I'm trying to tell you that if you don't know Christ, and you will get wealth, it'll flow right out of your hands, and you'll make stupid decisions, and you'll end up being in poverty and not the elite that's on top because you didn't pass. All right, so you are having these dreams where Bitcoin has hit 52. It's not going any higher. As of right now, we do see the market turning red. So some of the things are starting to decrease. I feel as if as we get into April, we're going to start seeing. I wouldn't put it past a big um, what do they call it? A black swan event in our banking system as far as the cryptos goes, because we have Fidelity and BlackRock wanting to buy up all of the liquidity to be able to buy it cheaper. We have a total solar lunar eclipse coming on the 8th. It is crossing the United States, and this cross and this lunar eclipse is touching, I think, like 9 different, and it could even be more than 10 different cities called Nineveh. Like, you can't make this up. On top of all of this, Sharon saw bananas ripening in one of her Luna Classic dreams, which is in April. That's when the time the bananas ripen. We had, I don't, did you ever see any videos from Brandon from Last Days?
I don't think I've watched an entire video of his, but I've dipped in and out of a couple of videos.
One of the visions that he saw was going through April, May, June, July. All we're going to hear is the institutions, news channels talk about money. Feds are going to start dropping interest rates. Why? Because it's an election year. They want to make everything look good. He also saw, and when I heard Kelly say this, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what Brandon saw. Brandon saw a balloon, a white balloon, get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger through the summer as they're lowering interest rates, as they're flooding the market with liquidity because they want their man to win, right? All of a sudden, come August, September, October, November, pop. The balloon popped. It was a big pop. And Brandon said in his vision, he saw the Fed just kind of go, we don't know what to do. What of it? It popped. We don't know what to do. What of it? Let's just see what happens. Like nobody had any answers. Well, Kelly had a balloon pop vision a year ago in November, and she didn't know when it was going to be. She thought it maybe was going to be that December, but she kept saying in some of the in her videos, and I remember an interview with you, she kept saying, "There's something about fall. There's something about November. I keep getting something about this season." It seems that y'all's dreams are a year behind of when it's actually happening, right? So maybe your elevator dream where it snaps and it goes all the way down is the final big crash. Because also, Marcus, a brother, Brandon, from the last days saw he had a visitation from the angel, and the angel said, Brandon, I want you to watch for the hollyberry tree. When the hollyberry tree starts to bloom, well, the hollyberry tree doesn't do that until Christmas. And Marcus, you've had Christmas dreams. You
Right.
woke up the other day thinking about hearing some kind of Christmas song.
Hmm.
So, our best bet in these waves here, I really believe this is the year that we need to focus as the Issachar Joseph tribe and understand that during these waves that are coming in, unlike my bonehead, immature ways for the first bull run when I didn't know what I was doing, everybody needs to know, and I think you're saying the same thing, is uh, take your profits. Understand that, don't miss an opportunity to start pulling some out when you need cash if the market's inflated, because nothing goes up forever. It does correct and it shoots back up, and it corrects and it shoots back up. I think the last wave, Marcus, when you saw two waves, I think the last wave of this wealth transfer is probably going to be over 2 years ish into 2027. The XRP where everyone is seeing now, Brandon saw XRP at 25,000. Sharon saw XRP at 25,000. How in the world is that much money in that asset? The only way for that liquidity to get that high, how about Shiba? The only way for Shiba to get to $1 a coin is if, in Luna, is if we have multiple waves of capital that we're all plunging back into these assets and it's shooting them so high. So we have to have multiple waves of this. So let's say that we go through the summer and we get these assets up to just the underneath the cent, like some of these price ranges, right? That you guys have seen or some people have seen. Luna with maybe 2 zeros and a 7. Shiba maybe, 3 zeros and whatever. Like the smaller hikes, they retrace. We all dump back in. Now we're going up to the 10 cents, the 50 cents. Sharon saw Luna Classic one time at 85 cents. Okay. Maybe that is after we've had a first spike through the summer because they're lowering interest rates. People have got money now, money's flooding into the system. And now we're swinging all the way up into the election. We're swinging all the way up into November. And then Christmas comes, or Kelly was talking about in that dream. Did she not say she kept hearing Kelly? Grab some XRP. And that's for all of us. Grab your profits. Maybe keep some in there, so you're not fully out, but go ahead and start gleaning. Start pulling, pull because of your elevator dream. Because of other people's dreams of just snap. It's gone. And
Hmm.
one of Brandon's dreams also. People were celebrating around Christmas, and then all of a sudden a rug was pulled. It happened instantly, and everybody was crying because they were millionaires and now they were broke, right? And the only thing that could do that to me, Marcus, is a cyber attack. Something in our system, some kind of hack, something like that. Have you
Or
seen?
also like a grid down event, which is something that's been prophesied, um, not in relation to the wealth transfer, but obviously that would affect cryptocurrency, um, like where just the grid goes down, power, all of that, EMP type of, if it's an attack or something else. Um, so that could be a factor as well.
Have you seen any dreams like that? Have you personally had any?
I haven't personally had a dream, but somebody who I trust very strongly. His name's the Praying Medic. He's an author. He has seen that, and he's recently released a book on how to prepare for that. Um, and I've heard other people prophesy about this type of thing, so I trust it. I believe in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is our year, and we need to be wise. I believe as we go further to Marcus, you're going to start having these knowings, more dreams about how to pass these tests. Because it's really easy for someone who's never had money, they finally have money and they have a good heart and they love the Lord, but the wisdom's not there. And they start pulling out too early, thinking they're multimillionaires, and they are. But XRP hasn't hit 25,000. Maybe it only hit 400, right? Or maybe it's over $100. And a lot of people are very wealthy, but the extra waves haven't come in yet to where the system isn't built like some of us are seeing with XRP. And they sell and they're out and they bought the land and they're building the ministry, but now the real money comes in. And the Josephs that stayed or put, maybe 70% of what they've made into XRP, into Flare, into the system that Kelly was talking about, which Flare Network is. It is a train station of network. So instead of having to go to all these different networks and buy all of these coins, you've got a one-stop hub that everything's flooding into. I mean, it takes um, the ability, the learning curve to grandma can do it. That's
Hmm.
when the money comes in. That's when the XRP is $25,000. That's when the Josephs rise. That's when your XRP is gaining interest and you're loaning money off of it. So there's some kind of test that we're going to have to go through. And somehow you or somehow in this teaching of a test. So as we go through this, it's almost like you're getting bits and pieces of how you should move forward.
Well, I'll say some things now. I mean, that I've already said before. So for one, success in the wealth transfer isn't when we take these profits initially. It's not being a millionaire. It's like after all these profits have been taken, after we're fully in the new financial system, everything's digital. Are you set up and established then? That's when you'll know if you were successful in the wealth transfer. And the enemy, is going to test you, right? There's even been talks about in America XRP buyback, right? So
Mhm.
like if the government offers you 10K, when XRP is at like, I don't know, I don't even know what number to throw out there, but it's gonna look like a really good deal. If this happens, it's gonna look like an amazing deal at the
Good,
time,
good point.
knowing that it's going to go well beyond that price, and a lot of people are going to fail that test and take that deal. And the thing about XRP is not just the monetary value; it's the freedom that will come with it in the new system. Because if you don't have some of these assets, such as XRP, you're going to be forced to take the CBDCs, the government-controlled tracked coins, and you'll lose freedom if that's the currency you're forced to use. You will lose a lot of freedom in that, and I believe XRP will give a new definition to the term financial freedom because it's not just having enough money to do whatever you want. It's literally having like an access card, is what I call it. XRP will be like an access card that will allow you to do certain things that people who don't have it cannot do. And so the test is a test of endurance, it's a test of perseverance. Um, Stamina, and just resisting temptation, really resisting the enemy. um yeah.
That's good. Resisting temptation.
Hmm.
You're right, because who's to say that they wouldn't come out, like you said, here we'll give you 10,000 per XRP, but maybe XRP is only at a $5,000 whatever, and you're like, man, I'm a that would
Right.
triple. But then you're right, you don't have the key. The
Hmm.
key is you being the lender, not the borrower. And it seems
Hmm.
like there's something coming with that one technology that will cause you to be the bank, a
Right.
guardian, or a, if we want to use crypto terms, a s- a- I guess it would be called a guardian or a benefactor
Hmm.
of everyone's assets because you hold the most of it. So, you're right about that. And you spoke a little bit what I was going to bring up next, like what the big picture to this is. The big picture is not for the Lord to just give us a whole bunch of money where we're the lenders and not the borrowers. Like, what did Joseph do? He saved an entire nation, two nations, Egypt and the Israelites, and it's like the money is there for us to bring in the God. There is a system coming that's not going to be very friendly to us Christians. It's going to be quite hostile. And if we don't have systems in place, our own systems, our own way of doing commerce, our own way of, I don't know, maybe even airports. Maybe one of us will be able to build an airport where Christians can fly because, we didn't take these. I can't say we're going to get banned. You know, whatever they're doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
If we don't have systems in place, then first of all, like you said, we're susceptible to the CBDCs, which China did roll that out. And the scariest thing about China, I think, who was it? You or Gabe? Was it Gabriel? One of your friends, Gabriel? He said
That
something.
said what?
Maybe, maybe it was him that they tried this in China, but the scary thing about it was it had a time limit. So if you did
Yeah.
use it,
I mean,
it
me and
broke.
Gabriel have talked about that. Yeah. I don't know who said it, but yeah, we've
Maybe it
talked
was
about
him.
it.
Don't try to go look for it, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where it is. Maybe it's on one of Marcus's lives. Gabriel doesn't have you. That guy cracks me up. It's almost like the Mission Impossible movies where it's like you better read this or it'll terminate in 5 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
he goes,
He
he'll
hides his
turn it off and
videos.
it's like I'm gonna delete this in 5 seconds. But yeah, it'll be something like that. And if we don't have systems in place, then we are susceptible to the beast system that's rising. And yes, I do plan on getting raptured out of here. Yes, I do believe the Lord's coming soon. I don't know how long we have to be here, but we have to remember also it's not about us. We have a whole harvest that has to come in, and that's very expensive. And, you know, the Lord returning for his bride, I promise you, he's going to be returning. He's going to have more people in his kingdom than Lucifer does in his. So the harvest has to come back. The harvest has to come in, and we got to have money to do that. And that's the big picture here that you just touched on with there's going to be so many incentives. There's going to be so many reasons why you need to sell. There's going to be so many reasons why you need to be out of this market. But at the end of the day, it's what's coming past 2030. If you are not a multimillionaire, billionaire status, you're going to be considered poor. That'll be the new middle class. I honestly, Marcus, I do not believe there's going to be a middle class. I believe there's going to be the elite and there's going to be the absolute poor. And it may end up looking like something that we were just talking about, where you are delivered CBDs or whatever digitally, but
Hmm.
you don't use it within a certain time frame, it starts over. Well, how in the world do you save money? If every time it just starts over, it will be nearly impossible. It's like I saved up 60,000 this year. Yay, I almost can buy something. Oh, wait a second. It just started over. Now I have 20 again. We have to be thinking about these things. I think that it's very, very important. And that's why you're getting these visions. I'm preaching, you're preaching, and it's intertwining economically. I mean, you can't talk about revelation. You can't talk about the end without talking about politics and money, because
Hmm.
that's what revelation is an entire system set up on economic slavery. The whole thing. So I wanted to bring up, let me just move on into this because I've got you for like maybe 15 more minutes. And I wanted to talk about um, one other dream that you had that I found was very interesting, guys, because there's going to be other opportunities I think are going to be very important for you guys to look at. And that was your Albert Einstein dream, because it has to do with the new energy that's coming. And I've also gotten revelations about that from the Lord too, that even though we're making wealth in this market, the market that's up and coming, like, You try to figure out where the world is headed and you try to get there before the rest of the world gets there. That's the point. That's what Joseph did. He got inside information if famine was coming, and he got there before everybody else did. I remember Bob Jones, and this is why I recognized your Albert Einstein dream, because I remember Bob Jones giving a prophecy years back about cold fusion, that we needed to look into the new energy that was coming. And then when you did that video about Albert Einstein, you with the ATM, that Einstein was on the money. Then you said something about the Australian prophet. What was his name?
Uh, he's South African, Kim Clement.
Okay.
Yeah, I misspoke in my video. I said Australian, but he's South African. Yeah.
He sounds Australian to me.
Yeah, yeah, he does. That's probably why I said that. But
Do
yeah,
you have any revelation on that, like the new energy? What you think that
I
is?
mean, I think it's so. The sequence of events. One thing people overlook when it comes to prophecy or dreams and visions. One thing I always say is there's no such thing as coincidence in the kingdom of God. So if you're living life led by the Spirit, in tune with the Spirit of God, these things that look like coincidences aren't just simply coincidental. And so, of course, when I shared my dreams about that and then my follow-ups, of course, there are people who said, "Oh, I don't think it's nuclear fusion energy." But here's the thing about it. I had that dream in October 2021. It wasn't until a year later that I shared it. Why? I don't know. But I shared it October 2022. Then a few days after I shared the dream, and just a quick overview of the dream, I was at a gas station. I went to an ATM to pull out $40, but I think the limit or the minimum amount I could withdraw was 100. So I pull out 100. I hold everything looks fine, but I hold the bill up to the light and I see an Albert Einstein watermark, and then I pull it back down, and now the money looks counterfeit. And there was something written on the money, like gas station money or something, like the purpose of the money. Okay, so that was that dream. A few days after, the Holy Spirit led me to look at Kim Clement's prophecies. And then I see Kim Clement talking about the big E, the new energy source, and connecting it to Albert Einstein. And so that's when I was like, oh wow, this is all connected. Then less than 2 months after that, the US had the breakthrough in nuclear fusion energy. Breaking news on all the news stations, nuclear fusion energy breakthrough, which Albert Einstein was directly involved in developing, and the knowledge on that, we'll just put it that way. Okay. Now, it's not coincidental that I shared that dream a year after I had it, and less than 2 months later, there's a breakthrough in that energy source. That's not coincidental.
I agree with you.
So I believe that's what I believe the energy source is, or at least connected to. That's what I believe.
I agree with you. I think that right there is going to be huge, because that just reminded me of more to that vision that Brandon from the last days had. He had a vision to where he was writing. The angel told him a company to invest in, but the people who were not dead to themselves, right? The world, were dead in Christ, right? We should be listening to the Father for information of what to do. He was writing on first, he was writing on a copper pot that was all dented, and he was screaming at these people that he knew was about to lose a bunch of money around the time of the Hollyberry Bush, right? And they had made a bunch of money in the market and the Iraqi dinar and all of this. And he was like, wait a second, you're about to lose everything. Put it here. And he wrote it on a copper pot. He said the pot was copper, dented. I thought to myself, that sounds like mining, copper mining, copper. Then he goes outside and he writes the company. The angel whispers it to him again, and he's writing the company on an Aston Martin car. All right. And the angel kept saying, just stop. They cannot hear you because you're dead. They're not dead. They're not going to hear it. Well, that to me told me energy. Ashton Martin is putting out the Brit car, or putting out cars high in the um, nuclear fusion arena. Because I
Mm,
started reading about this. And
mm,
Marcus, I think that's exactly what it is. It's this new energy that Elon, that Ashton Martin, it's not lithium batteries. It's something else that's high efficiency, like nuclear fusion, that the whole world is going to. It's going to be God ordained, even though the wicked and the people who don't know the Lord are inventing it. It's still coming from the Holy, it's coming from Him, and it's going to make people billionaires. So, that dream that you also had that was disconnected from cryptos is the Lord saying, and yes, and this, right?
Right.
Here's
Yeah.
going.
The wealth transfer, of course, is not just cryptocurrency.
Right.
I just did a Google search, Aston Martin nuclear fusion. And so it's interesting because the Lord, and I've spoken about this, He's highlighted this prophetic theme of 1 year, exactly 1 year to me. And I started to notice it in September and just noticing how things are coming into alignment like a year after, like whether it's a prophetic word or something like that. And so the breakthrough in nuclear fusion energy was December 2022. Well, in December 2023, essentially the scientists in a lab replicated what they did a year prior, and they were able to um, gain ignition, nuclear fusion ignition, 3 times in a lab. And so it's like this tech is developing, it seems fairly quickly. And one of the things that naysayers said when I shared that dream is like, oh, it's going to take so long for them to develop this tech and this, that, and the other. But yeah, I truly believe that that's what the biggie is.
I think that's great. That's such profound
Mhm.
information. Yeah, if you get any more information on that, please do a video.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I've been looking into that myself, because you start looking into this, we have a ton of nuclear fusion companies that are trailing the way. It's just finding, all right, Lord, which one? Which one's going to get it? Right. And it may be more than one. I believe the
Well,
Ash.
I would say make sure it's a you. If you're looking, if we're able to invest in a company, I would say make sure it's US. Well, it's tied to what's happening in the US because Kim Clement said it would be developed in the US and it would clear the US debt.
That's a good tip. US
Yeah.
company. That's a part that I forgot about. You're right. Yeah. So here, guys, that. So, when you start getting in crypto profits, like we always talk about, don't just be kind of diversified in the assets digitally, in, the gold and silver, maybe in some nuclear energy. I know water, the Lord's really putting on me water. Something with
Mhm.
water is going to get scarce due to a lot of like natural disasters, maybe
Mhm.
chemical, biological warfare, water. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I've been looking at Marcus. I've been looking at water cleaning plants. I've been looking at. I don't know. I've just been
The
looking.
Lord gave me something about water all the way back in like somewhere between 2014 and 2016. So I know what I should be investing in. So it's funny because I think it was on my live stream. I told people, someone asked about reinvesting, once it goes down, once the market goes down, what should we be reinvesting in? I just told them the prophetic coins.
Yeah.
But then I told them, there are other things I plan to invest in after we take some really big profits, things that you kind of have to be like an angel investor. You have to have, like $1 million to invest in it. Um, and so I think nuclear fusion energy will be one of those things potentially. And I believe what I was told about water or shown about water is also one of those things. I'm not ready to release it publicly. Maybe I'll share with you offline, but yeah, I've been shown water as well.
Well, good. We're tracking.
Yeah.
Guys, right before we got on this live, I was watching a video that Marcus posted on his community tab last night, from Ian Clayton. And these are the kind of people like Ian Clayton, Novell Johnson, Paul Keith Davis, and Amy Davis, which are, I love them. Um, who else? Nancy Cohen. Not a lot of people in the Christian community are watching people like this. Um, you really have to be kind of like an Enoch company to really get it. And so he posted this video, and I'm watching it before we're about to go live, and I'm like, "Are you serious? We're tracking. We're tracking."
Mhm.
So the Lord, if you're here watching this video, chances are that you are an Issachar tribe Joseph community. Okay. There's a lot of you here also too that really just want financial freedom. And the Lord's going to give you that. But this is I think Marcus is stressing his videos. I know I've done it on mine. Just keep Jesus the focus, because honestly, guys, we're only getting this kind of wealth to occupy till he returns, and that means occupy building his kingdom here before his kingdom comes, right? Which means bring in the harvest. Keep busy. The talents, right? The talents he gave three people talents. He wasn't very happy with the person that had the talent that did nothing with it. We are supposed to be using it to bring him his inheritance. What is his inheritance? His people to rule and reign. Okay, so that's great. Oh, I do want to, before I got 5 minutes with Marcus, I told him I'd let him go in an hour. But I do, if you guys have any questions, put it here for Marcus or myself, and he cannot see them. So I'll
I
have,
can see her. I
oh,
can
you
see her.
can?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never done this. I know if you could. So
And while
if you,
y'all post, sorry, I don't mean to
no,
cut
no,
you
no, go
off.
ahead. No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
while y'all post those questions, I just feel inspired to say something about, you mentioned like Nancy Cohen and Paul Keith Davis and Ian Clayton and people of that nature. The reason I feel a lot of the Christian community isn't fully aware of these types of people or these types of teachings is because the devil has hijacked certain words and have made people scared of it, right? So, like, when we hear stuff like mysticism or being a mystic or even things like meditation, right? We immediately think it's demonic. And it can be depending on the source that you're trying to pull from. But people such as Nancy Cohen, Ian Clayton, etc., they are Christian mystics, and that's the term I'll use. I've heard these people use these terms as well, but I'll just say that's my term for them. And the word mystic is simply tied to mystery. These are people who search out the mysteries of God. These are people who want to go deep into knowing the Lord. Jesus spoke about the 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold return. There are 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold Christians. Some people are okay with just being saved and going to church here and there, and just believing in Jesus, while others want the deeper things, and to, just uncover the mysteries of the Lord. Even in Orthodox Christianity, Eastern Orthodox, which I've been looking at recently, I believe that even though I don't love the different denominations and the different sects of the church, I believe something can be gleaned from each of them as long as there's that underlying core value of belief in Jesus Christ, right? And the Orthodox Church, like the height of that is understanding the mysteries of the Lord, right? It's very mystic in nature, mysterious in nature, and so don't be afraid of the deep things. Don't be weirded out when you hear people talking about meeting Enoch or things of this nature. These things are possible if you want it. So that's that.
That is so good. Because we are a small community that want the mysteries of God. And it really comes from a place, I'm not bored, but when you get to a place where you're so on fire for God and want to see him so bad, and you have lived, Joseph's have had a very hard life. I know I've heard a little bit of your testimony. We've had a very pressure cooker kind of life. And when you go through the fire over and over and over again, and you're just like, well, I guess I've just forgotten about, but I love the Lord. When you have this burning desire there is nothing on this planet that fulfills that besides him. And you yearn for him. And so it's that mystic, that mysteries, Lord, tell me more, let me walk with you, let me be with you kind of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love those people. You have a question here. I saw a good one right here. They want to know about the elevator. She said, when you say elevator to hit the floor, do you mean absolute zero or BTC drops to 10,000 or 5,000?
I believe, well, from what I've heard prophetically, both can be true, but I believe it will go absolute zero. Multiple people have said that prophetically. Gabriel, that you mentioned, he's had multiple dreams where it's confirmed that it will go zero. So, as far as like setting a buy limit order, set it as low this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but what I believe is you can set it as low as you want it. When the elevator went to the bottom in my dream, it was the bottom floor. It wasn't floor 10 of 50. It was floor 1, bottom floor, ground zero, right? And so me personally, my buy limit orders for like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which we expect to crash prophetically, are set at as low as they can go. I think one exchange is like 10 cents is the lowest it can go. And so I don't think I'm on any exchange where you can set like a 1 cent. So I think 10 cents is my lowest. But yeah.
Are you on Coinbase and Kraken?
Yeah, I need to put more on Kraken. I just found out during my live stream that Kraken's daily withdrawal limit is like $10 million. I was like, whoa, what? Because
I got her. And I've been
Coinbase is like 50,000. So it's like we need to be more on Kraken
I
because
gotta figure that out with you because I'm on Kraken. I buy Luna on Kraken, but
yeah,
my
you have to be like a Kraken Pro, and it's free. It's not like a monthly subscription. You just have to sign up. There are two apps. There's a Kraken app and a Kraken Pro app.
I got both of those.
Okay, and so I think that there's something you have to sign up for, but it's free, and then you have that status.
That's interesting. I'll have to look at that. All
Yeah.
right. Maya asked, is the plan to take profits before the crash and buy back in after? Should we sell all XRP when it's in profit and buy back in at a lower price? Or should we always keep a bag of XRP? You want to take that one?
Yeah. So one thing I stress is that your strategy should be your strategy. Develop with the Lord, right? Everybody doesn't have the same strategy. Everybody shouldn't be invested in the same exact coins. But to speak in a general sense, me personally, I don't plan to touch XRP if I don't have to. So now, if for some weird reason during a run, if XRP is the only coin that I can really gain some profits from, then sure, because I do believe you'll be able to buy back in at a lower price and all of that. Because when Bitcoin crashes, it's going to take the whole market down. So I wouldn't be afraid of not being able to get back into XRP after a crash. But if possible, I'm not going to touch XRP. I'll sell. My plan is first the meme coins, right? I want to gain my profits from the meme coins. Then I'm going to look at the ISO 20022 coins, which is like XRP, XLM. These are the coins that are already set up to be used in the new financial system. So my plan is first the meme coins, then the more long-term coins. That's my plan.
That's my plan too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the smaller coins that probably will not pass regulation in this country. Maybe they'll do great in the African nations, but maybe in this country they won't be able to pass regulations, and we can just roll right into those assets that we know are going to be used for the bank, and then roll into XRP. And like you said, guys, that's it. I mean, you need to do what's best for you and your family. Like Kelly specifically got a dream for her and her family. Kelly remembered to take some XRP.
Right.
They have hundreds of thousands of dollars in that. And so
Yeah.
for her family, maybe
Right.
she wants to pull out a little bit of cash. But maybe for you, regardless, it seems like these dreams, like with Marcus and everybody, the elevator goes back up. It goes back up. So even if it crashed, as long as you're not in long positions trading leverage, you're fine. Just because it goes down to like zero, you still say you had 10,000 XRP and it went down to zero. You still have 10,000 XRP. You,
Right.
so when it
You
goes all
only
the way
lose money when you sell.
when you sell,
That-
yeah. So unless you really don't have a lot and you want to buy back in, maybe take a little bit off when you get profits, hold it in a stable coin, and then put in a buy limit order. You know,
Mhm.
everyone's going to be different, like Marcus says. Um, We'll take a couple more. Moonraker says, "Isn't the wealth transfer just for a season?" What do you say to that?
Um, I don't know exactly what he means. I mean, the wealth transfer is an event, Now, it's an event that will span over the course of years, but it's an event. Yeah, eventually there will be a time where we won't be talking about the wealth transfer anymore. It will have occurred. And like I said, success in the wealth transfer is after these waves, once the system is fully set up, are you secure and established?
I like what you said. I cannot believe you were, I think it started with Sharon and you made a video about it because I had a Patreon account before I was on YouTube that I was teaching people how to buy and sell cryptos back since 2018. And I shut that Patreon account down. It was doing very well, but the Lord says, shut it down. Full-time ministry, I'll provide for you. And so I did. And it's been like that ever since, but it was doing very well. And I would always say to them, Marcus, the crypto market is the wild wild west. It is
Hmm.
no regulation. It has no regulation. And so this is at some point when it goes and it pops, it'll be just as boring as Wall Street. And there will be regulation. And it'll just be gradual ups and downs, right? People just investing long term, like a 401k, which I don't like. Don't even get me into 401ks. Different story for different day. But you're right. It is a wild, wild west situation. It's a gold rush. And it's one of those things the Lord's given us the ability to grab, get, be wise because it's like I saw it as like shifting gears in a car. That's how we're going to be doing this through this wealth transfer. We are revving up, we are shifting down, we're revving back up, and you have to be wise, be unemotional, right? Have a plan. Like Marcus says, it's going to be different for everybody. And yeah, eventually it's going to just be XRP or digital banking coins, or this is just our life. But we already went through the wild, wild west and we're good. And you guys were in before the rest of the world. Okay, we'll take one more question and then I'll let Marcus go because he does have a life other than you do. Let's see. How Orlando Bro, how do I know my crypto dream is from the Lord? I'll let the seer take that question.
um, how do you know your crypto dream is from the Lord? Oh man, man. Whew. Well, I mean, that's like dreams in general. How do you know your dreams, period, are from the Lord? I've been dealing in dreams, recording my dreams, interpreting, and all of that for over a decade now. And so to kind of try to break this down on the spot, where for me now it's more like a just an organic thing, it's just a knowing at this point. But you got to look at the context, right? What's being instilled in you from the dream? Are you left with fear after the dream? Are you left with hope, encouragement? Um, it's a case by case situation. Um, and confirmation, right? So like a lot of the times in my videos when I share my dream, I'll also show where other people have also prophetically seen something similar or something connected, and that confirms it, right? In the mouth of two or three witnesses, let a thing be established. Um, and so, maybe I should do like a course on dreams so we can get more in
That's
depth with this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's hard to give a perfect answer on the spot like this. There's a lot that goes into it, and I would just say start. It's not like if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of dreams and aren't experienced in dreaming, don't think you need to have a dream and immediately share it with the world, right? I would suggest just start recording your dreams and keeping track of your dreams and looking at your dreams and praying over them, praying into them, and seeing what the Lord reveals, seeing how things line up. And that's kind of how you gain an understanding over time. Like I said, I've been dealing with this for over a decade. So um a lot of times, and I'm not saying this is what old rounder bro is guilty of, but a lot of times we just want the fast and easy, where really with the Lord, to go deep and to gain understanding, you have to tarry with the Lord, you have to commune with him, and it takes time, like any relationship. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer.
well, that's good. Yeah, we'll look forward to that dream interpretation course. He's having dreams a lot lately. Shocker, because the Bible said this would happen.
Right.
Start dreaming and having visions more. Well, guys, I'm going to let Marcus go. I hope this was very helpful for you guys. Now, Marcus's channel is Walk His Way, right? Walk His Way.
Walk
And
this way, walk his way. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I'll tag it in the description below, guys. After I'm done and it's up and I can edit descriptions. He also has a member part on his YouTube channel where he talks more in detail and just more personal, right, Marcus, on like cryptocurrencies and things you've seen from the Lord. It's just personal.
Right, right. Yeah. A lot of times I'll just share things that I don't feel I'm ready to share publicly yet or is ready for a wider audience. And so, yeah, just more intimate, more personal. Yeah.
Yep. So if you guys want some more of that, his is on his channel. And Marcus, thank you so much for being with me today. I hope this was a blessing to you guys. We could probably go on for hours about this. There's so much, but I promise you, as we get further and further, the Lord's going to be speaking to His people, and we're all going to be uploading videos. I'm sure you guys have dreams. Email them to us, people. I mean, we love to hear y'all's dreams. The Lord is speaking to all of us because we all have a piece of the puzzle. We all have a part. And we bless you and we love you guys. And Marcus, you have a good day.
Thank you. I'll say one last thing. Okay. There seems to be controversy, and there has always been controversy surrounding WikiCat. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I will just say you will not know the truth on this matter because it's unfortunate that we're there are people in the same community but have such strong opposing views, right? And so it's like, who's hearing from the Lord? These people are saying WikiCat will do well. These people are saying WikiCat is a scam coin. Who's really hearing? Only time will tell, right? These people who are saying WikiCat is not of God or whatever they're saying, that will only be proven true if WikiCat disappears, you know? In the meantime, we'll just wait to see what it does, right? If and when it takes profits, and I believe it will, because
It already
the
has.
Lord, the Lord spoke to me directly about WikiCat. I'm not to say that we shouldn't listen to prophets, but I paid no mind to WikiCat until the Lord gave me a direct dream about it. And so I fully support it. I'm invested in it. I believe it will do well. And so that's what I have to say about that. I would say don't draw a line in the sand and choose sides based on a cryptocurrency. That's kind of silly, right? What does that person believe about Jesus? That should
Right.
be the
What's
most
their
important.
fruit? That's our
Right.
that's, that's our guide. What's their fruit? I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot all about our friend WikiCat. It causes such division. It's weird, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can just tell you, well, it already has. I've made money off of WikiCat. The problem the people need to remember that these smaller meme coins, they're all rug pulls. When is everyone going to get that? That's the whole point of them. The point is, it's community tokens. Everyone floods in so you can get a piece of your cut, pull it out, and put it into something else. All of them are. That's the whole point of these meme coins. They're springboards into something else. So when you can get your emotions out of it, then you're not so angry.
And yeah, like you said, you've already taken profits. Technically speaking, what I believed about WikiCat, again, coming directly from the Lord, um, since I invested in it, at one point it was up 350%.
Yes.
So we could easily say that the prophecy has already been fulfilled, But I expect more to come. I expect it to go up even higher. Yeah.
So take that, guys. You're going to do good. Just keep the faith. Well, I will talk to you hopefully some other time, Marcus. Thank you so much. And you
Yeah.
enjoy the day. We will be in touch.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.